Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about poverty consciousness and really opening the doors to our abundance. My guest today is Nedda Wittels, and she is a spiritual empowerment and ascension coach, as well as a starseed, way shower, and an animal communication specialist. Hi, Nedda. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Loren. Thank you so much for having me, and welcome everybody who is listening to this program, because the way the world is today, this is the program that's going to help you shift, get out of poverty consciousness and into abundance consciousness. And I'm sure many people are looking forward to the opportunity of getting out of poverty consciousness.
Yes. All right. So poverty consciousness is something that we've all been programmed with, and it could be in this life. Most of it is in this life. I'm going to let you talk more about that, but it's also all of our past lives as well. Go into the difference between poverty consciousness and wealth or prosperity or abundance consciousness.
Well, there are really some important differences here. Poverty consciousness is low vibrational 3D consciousness. It's the idea that if one person wins, others have to lose. It's the idea that we're all in competition. And think about any sports game, think about the economy. It's all about a small number of people winning and everybody else at the bottom. Poverty consciousness has to do with what you believe about yourself. Are you a winner or a loser? What a silly question. You're a divine creator. How can you possibly be a loser? But we forget. Poverty consciousness is about fear. And you know what I find fascinating, one of the things I find fascinating about poverty consciousness is that even the wealthiest people are in fear of losing their money. Fear is what drove them to accumulate vast amounts of wealth. And you know, Loren, it's amazing to me, those people sometimes have more fear than those who have less. Fear is the driving factor. But when you're in abundance, accumulation doesn't make sense, because abundance is about a flow. Poverty consciousness is about grabbing hold, looking at your bank account and going, yeah, that's a number that makes me feel safe, or, oh my God, that number's shrinking, or, oh my God, that number got really big. What am I going to do with all that money? Poverty consciousness is kind of crazy. You can't win, really, because you're always in fear. Abundance consciousness is about win-win situations. Every relationship, whether there's money involved or not, because after all, money is just energy, right? So whether there's money involved or not, it's about both people, both groups, everyone winning. There's a wonderful story told about a man who died, and the angels came to take him to heaven. And he said, you know, I'm excited about going to heaven, but I'd really like to see what hell is like. Can we go there first, just so I can look around? So the angel said, well, you know, of course, if you want to go, I'll take you. And they arrived, and there were these huge vats of delicious smelling stews and soups. And people were standing around those vats. And all of the people were really skinny. They looked emaciated, like they had just come out of a concentration camp. They were starving. They each had a spoon, but the spoons were huge. They were too big to dip into the vat and turn the spoon around and put it in their own mouths. And they were fighting to get to a place where they could do that. And so everybody was miserable. And the man said to the angel, I think I've seen enough. I'm ready to go to heaven now. And the angel said, okay, here we go, and took him into heaven. And he was astounded because the first thing he saw were the same vats, great big vats of delicious smelling food of all kinds, and people looking nourished and healthy. And he kept watching, and he saw that they all had the same gigantic spoons. What was the difference? They were feeding each other. This is abundance consciousness. This is what happens when we help each other instead of trying to climb over each other to get ahead. This is what happens when our hearts are open, when we're coming from a place of love and compassion. One of the things in putting together my thoughts for this conversation that really have come to horrify me, especially in the last year or two, capitalism is really a very greedy, cruel, mean economic system. It's completely lacking in compassion. It's based on the idea that you're on your own. If you make it, you make it. If you don't, it's your fault. It's based on the idea that if I benefit, you have to lose. And worse than that, it's based on the idea that a certain number of people have to be in poverty, have to be unemployed. Can you imagine? This is an economic system that the experts say, if we don't have a certain level of people who are unemployed, out of work, maybe not having enough to eat, maybe not having a place to live, then there's something wrong with the system. I take the completely opposite point of view, Loren. A system that requires that, there's something wrong with that system. It's completely horrendous. And yet we've been taught to love it like it was something precious. It's upside down, it's inside out. Don't you think so, Loren?
Yes, it's exactly the opposite of what we know. And we have to do the opposite, isn't it? But there's some people who've been able to get along quite well with it. But you're right, even though they get along quite well with it. I know Oprah Winfrey, one of the most wealthiest women in the world, has said she still worries about not enough. So you can do very well in that game of capitalism, yet there's still the fear of losing it or having to keep up with it. So what is the true liberation then? It really is a mind shift into service work, right? It's actually lack consciousness.
It's a shift in consciousness. You're absolutely right. And it's a shift into a place where you know, not that abundance is something you have to get, but that you are abundance. Not abundant, like this is a little characteristic of you. I'm abundant right now because I have X, Y, Z in my life. It's a state of consciousness that's part of fifth dimensional living. It's unity consciousness. It's we're all in here together. We all help each other. We create win-win outcomes for each other. We take care of each other. When the lockdowns started, people were very upset. I work from home and I have for years. And so I'm alone a lot of the time with my cats and I work online, on Zoom. And so that wasn't a big shift for me. But one day my doorbell rang and it was my neighbor's adult daughter who lives with her, and she had this big box of vegetables. And she was offering some to me, and she explained that she and her mother were going to food share to get food. Now, I live in a very comfortable neighborhood, and every house has a quarter of an acre at least. And I was surprised, but I thanked her, and I took some of the vegetables, and she left, and I thought, this doesn't make sense. Here she is bringing me food. I'm doing well. So I went to my pantry and I took cans of organic foods and bags of things. And I went over to her house and rang the bell. And she was surprised to see me because we don't tend to interact very much. And I said to her, you shared with me and I want to share with you. And so I said, anything in this bag that you want, you can have it all. And she was thrilled. It was all organic stuff and, canned beans and tomatoes and things like that. And it made me aware of how little we know about what's really going on in people's lives and how people are really struggling in our society. And, I'm speaking as an American, I'm sure people are listening to this from all around the world, but you don't hear on the media really about the people who are struggling, about the people who've been out of work for a long time and can't find jobs, about the people who are living under the underpasses of the superhighways or being driven out of San Francisco or Los Angeles because they have no homes, the people living in the streets. It's an upside down world because we're keeping all this hidden. We're missing the truth. And we have to start being aware of how other people are doing and opening our hearts. And that's one of the things you have to do to get to abundance consciousness. You have to think, I can't really be abundant fully unless everybody is abundant fully. And you have to respond. One of the things I wanted to talk about today is this expression, it's better to give than to receive. You've heard that, right, Loren? Mm-hmm. It's better to give than to receive. What a bizarre notion. It's wonderful to give if you're giving out of love and you're giving out of compassion and generosity. But if everyone wants to give and no one is open to receive, what kind of a world is that? Who are you going to give to? And if you're not open to receive yourself, if somehow it's like we talk about one up and one down, if it's one down to be in the place of receiving, how are you going to let the abundance in, folks? You've got to be open to receive. Your heart has to be open. Your arms have to be open. Universe, I'm open. And if you can't be that way, you're not going to receive that full flow. And what I'm really getting at today is that we need to get into that flow, because when you're out there in the universe, when you look at the whole universe, it's abundant. There's abundance everywhere except in our mentality. And so we have to shift our consciousness. And this will, go ahead.
Yes, what is that first step for you in an awareness that you even had the lack consciousness going on? There are some indicators. Can you go over those? Yeah, we hear this a lot from folks who are like, I know what I want, but I just fall short of always manifesting it. Or when funds come in, I immediately lose it all. That's part of this bigger picture that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And something is not open to the flow, as you were saying.
Well, one of the things that happened to me in my life, I've had many different jobs. I've had lots of different, I call them lifetimes within lifetimes. I've been a public school teacher for 10 years. I worked in the computer industry for 10 years. I've done other things. And when I left the computer job, I was making $50,000 a year. I'm going to give you a number. It's just a number, folks, because in different times it's worth a different amount. But I was making what a lot of people consider to be a really good income. And I just left. And I left because I knew I was going to get really, really sick if I didn't. I was already sick physically and worn out. And I had no idea what I was going to do to earn a living. And this was a time when I began opening, really, really opening to my spiritual path and to knowing who I was and what I was here for. But it was a daily step by step. And I was terrified. I was in that poverty consciousness. And what I found over the years, this was 1994, so you can tell I've been doing this a long time. One of the things that would happen to me was I'd go into that awful fear of having nothing, losing my home, losing my animals, having nothing. And I was constantly being told by higher guidance that when you're on your path, you are always taken care of. Everything is taken care of. And of course, I had huge doubts, but it's been proven to be true over and over and over again. So the first step for me was taking a leap into the unknown and being willing to confront the fear and being willing to go inside and talk to my I am presence and align with my divine service. Now, that takes a lot of courage, and a lot of people aren't comfortable doing that. And I wasn't comfortable doing it either. But then what I began to learn was that I was giving my power away. And I had to take my power back. If I'm a divine creator of my reality, then right in this now moment, well, okay, I created whatever got me to here. But that doesn't mean I stop creating. That's part of the other problem. We tend to think of everything as static. Nothing is static. Everything changes. So we have to shift from thinking about going back to the good old days or standing still, like the now moment is frozen. No, it isn't. There's this moment, and then there's this moment, and this, and this, and this, and this. We keep flowing, we keep moving. So it was about changing that and taking back my power. And to do that, I had to start uncovering, what are my limiting beliefs? What do I believe about money? What do I believe about me? What do I believe about my self-worth? Am I entitled to be prosperous? Really? Do I love myself enough to be prosperous? Do I love others enough to really be of service to them? Because you're not of service to somebody else if you give them what you think they need. You have to be of service to them by helping them figure out for themselves what they need, what they're really choosing, and what their next steps are. You can't, you mentioned, Loren, that I do spiritual empowerment coaching. You can't empower somebody else. They have to take their own power back. So that was part of the learning for me, that I had to take my own power back from all the places I had given it away, including to this insane economic system that doesn't love anybody.
Yes. All right. So, the limiting beliefs that you speak of, they are imprinted in us through experiences. Some of us chose families that were already deep into poverty consciousness and lack consciousness.
Right.
And, that journey from something that was imprinted into us negatively about abundance in childhood could literally take us decades to unravel. What was that like for you? Do you have any stories that stick out in your mind that you saw unravel in this poverty consciousness?
Well, let me think about that a minute, because
like not being given something. I've got a story. When I was a little girl, I wanted these sandals. And something as so simple as sandals, very materialistic, of course, but an open-hearted 8-year-old girl having to go back to the store and with her mom and give those sandals back. And I love those sandals. I was like, I already wore them outside. I can't take them back. But there was an awareness later in life of what that really did to me. It set into motion a whole series of beliefs that you don't deserve new shoes, something so minor, right? It seems very minor. There's people on this planet that don't have food. And here I am talking about rainbow sandals. But as I was an adult, then there was one day when I looked at a program after a girlfriend came to me and said, we're buying you new shoes. We looked down and I had shoes from 20 years ago from my days on Guam. And I realized, wow, I'm really clinging to these shoes. And then we bought shoes and I'm in the car with her after, and I looked down at my feet. Those were the same rainbow sandals.
Oh my goodness.
They were the same. They looked just like the rainbow sandals I had as an 8-year-old. And right there, I felt a shift in an allowance for myself to receive the gift of buying those shoes for myself. So that's just one example, but there's so many that we're imprinted with the way that we purchase today with our spouses. Some say don't ever buy a new car. Well, then why would you know what I mean? This is like, I can see from an environmental perspective, some of these beliefs and how they shape up. But on a deeper level, we really are denying ourselves from the beauty and joys of life because of the limiting beliefs.
That's absolutely true. You know, when I left the computer world, I had a horse. Horses are very expensive to have. She'd been with me a long, long time. Ultimately, she was with me until she was 32. I got her when she was 9. And I had a commitment to her that I would support her and I would take care of her and we would be together no matter what for the rest of her life or the rest of mine, whichever way it worked out. And for that commitment, I went into debt. I worked at the barn until I loved taking care of horses, but I physically couldn't do it anymore. My body could not do it. And it was such a terrible struggle. And then when she finally passed on, I knew that I could not have another horse. And that was very, very difficult for me. I mean, in my ideal 5th dimensional world, I would have a whole farm of horses at one level of my imagination, my creative fantasy. But it's, for me, it's less about what you have and more about the flow. And that's the key point. When I started teaching the course in abundance, becoming abundance, one of the things that I said to everyone was, abundance is in your life right now. Are you paying attention? And so one of the activities we did in the first week was to just keep a journal every day of abundance. Now, that's not the same as sitting there and being, I'm grateful I have this house, which I do. I do gratitude work. I'm so glad to have this lovely home and to have heat and electricity and food and on and on. But this was different. This was to notice the flow. So the first thing that happened was somebody came to my house to work on whatever it was that needed work at the time. And he brought me a dozen eggs from his free range, organically fed chickens. These were the most incredible eggs I'd ever eaten in my life. Those eggs were a sign of abundance. See, if you're going to shift your consciousness, that's what you have to do. You have to start noticing that it's already there. And it may be there in these itty bitty little teensy wincy ways, but it's not little bitty itsy bitsy teensy weensy. It's huge because you hadn't paid attention to it before. And so when you start seeing the abundance coming in like that, it begins to expand. And for you, it may have taken all those years to really get to enjoy those sandals. But then when you got them, didn't you feel that expansiveness? Didn't you feel that abundance flowing in your life?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's one of the techniques is to notice the abundance that's coming, not just what's there now that you're grateful for, but the abundance that's coming in. I'll tell you it was a hilarious story at the time. There are these certain types of pickles that I really, really love. And I don't eat them very often because they have some sugar in them. They're bread and butter pickles. And they're naturally made and quite lovely. And when the pandemic started, the health food store that carried that and many other wonderful things closed permanently. And it's a little bit of a car drive to go to a larger store like Whole Foods and get them. And I don't do that very often. But there's a wonderful little kind of mom and pop supermarket down the street where I buy a lot of things. And one day I just thought, I'm in the flow of abundance. Those pickles are going to show up in that store. I'm a divine creator. They're going to be there. I put this out just like that. I didn't even put a lot of energy into it. It was just like simple, fun, going to happen. So about a month later, I'm in the store and I'm going down. It's a small store, but I'm going down one of the aisles where there's a refrigerated section. And I happened to glance in, and there are the pickles. And I was like, wow, they're here. So I grab a couple of bottles and I take my cart up to the register, and the young man at the register says, oh, this is a new item. We ordered some pickles, but they sent these instead. And I said, well, they didn't make a mistake. I said, I asked the universe to bring these in, and therefore they're here. This was my order. And of course, his eyeballs popped out, and he went, he'd never even heard of such a thing before. But I knew those pickles were there because I had asked for them, even though they had not ordered that specific variety. This is also being in the flow of abundance. It's not like you have to work really hard. You have to be open-hearted, playful, joyous, and then recognize abundance when it shows up, and then share the joy of it.
Yes. All right. You said some powerful things there. And I wanted to just share another little story as well in my own experience, because part of the awakening to the abundance that is out there has to do with, and part of the flow has to do with letting your money flow, not clinging to it.
Right.
And I'm not going to go into this is a much bigger story than this we have time for right now. But the aspect I want to share is one moment we had a lot of, when we were breaking poverty consciousness that my husband and I both had, having to do with a used car versus a new car, his belief system versus my system, and how I actually realized that I helped him create that belief system and get that used car, that we were both in it together. It was not just him. I was having that awareness, but at the same time, a big expense was happening. So both cars, his and mine, were going through a lot of repairs. And then after we go through both those repairs, like big dollar expense repairs, I needed new tires on my car. And so I was there. I could have been in a vibration of like, wow, ugh, how are we going to pay for this? But instead, something happened. I saw a shift where the guy who was changing the tires at the tire shop, I saw on a multi-dimensional level, like I zoomed out and I saw him at home with his family. He had I saw his wife and a young child in a high chair. And I saw how the money that I was paying for my tires was literally going to their dinner table. And that right there, that awareness shifted my heart right open and got me out of my head. And I just have to say that that was a pivotal point in this awareness. Isn't that amazing that we can't just cling to our money? We have to let it flow. So that's a challenge when there may not be enough. How do you deal with that?
Well, the first thing is you have to look at that last sentence. There may not be enough. That's a poverty consciousness thought. So we have to immediately recognize when those thoughts come into our head, come out of our mouth, and say, okay, I'm going to change this. And there's a wonderful technique for doing it, Loren. There may not be enough. Write that down. Do you have a piece of paper there? Just write it down. There may not be enough. And then stand it on its head. If you took that and you completely converted it and said, there's always more than enough. Now, if there's always more than enough feels weird, bizarre, and totally improbable, this is a good thing. This is a sign that the first statement is probably also weird and totally improbable. Because if you take something and you stand it on its head, you're going from one extreme to another, right? So if the second one feels improbable, then the first one probably is improbable. So then we have to do is we have to say, okay, so what are the emotions that are clinging to there may not be enough? What are the emotions for you when you think that thought, Loren? There may not be enough.
Well, the basic fear comes up, the basic fear that comes up, and that's where we give our power away. Because if we truly look back in our life, have we ever been homeless? Maybe some of us have at sometimes, but I love what you said. It's turning that on its head and looking at it from the other way, the other perspective. And it
That's
really is just a state right here, isn't it? It's just a state.
That's the first step. You turn it on its head. But then the next step is you take the emotions that come up, the fear, the anxiety, the worry, whatever the list is.
Breathlessness.
And, you're right. And then there are techniques that I use in my coaching sessions to clear those out. We completely release the fears. And I always think of limiting beliefs. If you imagine, unfortunately, the loggers cut trees down and they used to float them down the rivers. And there are these pictures, maybe of just hundreds of tree bodies, massacred trees, my horse once said to me, murdered trees floating down the river. But each of those big, heavy logs, it's like it's anchored inside you with the emotions. The emotions is holding it in place. So we release the emotions using the emotion code system. And then we release the fear. And usually when I use these techniques, I can actually see the energy of this stuff moving out of people's bodies. And then we take the powerful new expansive statement and we implant it to fill in all the spaces inside you where the limiting belief was. And people begin to expand in how they're feeling, moving into a more positive, joyous space. In the course on Becoming Abundance, there's an entire session where that's all we do is we clear limiting beliefs. So we can't do all of them in one session like that. But if people want to, that's one of the bonus programs that I'm offering is that course recorded. And there's the third class is where we would do that. And so included in that purchase is a half-hour private time with me to clear some of your limiting beliefs out. Yeah. Because you got to start getting rid of them. And once you do, it helps you shift. And then there are so many techniques for reminding yourself. You know, when you get a limiting thought, you've got to write it down and then find the ways to get rid of it. Don't let it sneak away. I mean, these thoughts, they go by, zoom, like little insects, like little bees zipping by. And you gotta go, wait a minute, write that down. Okay, no, you're not gonna get away because you're holding me back. And I'm taking back my power from that limiting belief right now. And my first step is to notice it, to write it down, and then turn it on its head. And then there's the clearing part of it.
Yes. Okay. Well, you are a spiritual coach and you work with people on this.
Yes.
Let's put a call out to our Zoom audience and have you work on some limiting beliefs that they may have. Are you ready to do just a few mini sessions for folks?
I can do a couple of mini sessions. I want to make sure we have time for the meditation though, because that's really important. That's going to get everybody expanded out into abundance frequency.
Okay,
So
that's a great idea. Let's start with that meditation to feel our abundance.
Okay.
And hopefully that will take care of some initial people who want to ask you a question. Otherwise, participants, you can raise your hand on our Zoom panel and we have time for those as well. Thank you, Nedda. How beautiful.
Okay, we'll do the meditation now. So I just want everyone get comfortable. Just let your body get comfortable where you are. Sitting up with your back supported. Wiggle around a little bit, get your shoulders, your head, your neck kind of loosened up. If you've been sitting for a while, you've probably stiffened up a little bit. And let's take some deep breaths together. Take a deep breath in. Fill your lungs all the way up and expand them. And exhale. And relax. And take another deep breath in. We don't breathe. There's an abundance of air, folks. Get that oxygen in. Take a deep breath in and expand and exhale and let go. Relax. And take a third deep breath and relax. And sense your heart center opening, opening, opening like a beautiful flower. You can even smell this lovely scent of the flower of your heart. And we're going to take a little bit of a journey right now. I want you to allow yourself, let your eyes close, be fully present in this moment. And just sense your own energy, your own consciousness. And your consciousness isn't confined to just this body. You are a divine being of love and light, and your consciousness can expand. Feel it expand. Feel it expanding all the way into the room, spreading out to the four walls where you are. And feel it expanding. Keep breathing. Feel it expanding out beyond the building where you are. Out into the yard, out into the garden, out into the street, out into the town. Expanding, expanding. Your consciousness is infinite. You can expand 50 miles, 100 miles. Expand 1,000 miles. Expand all around Mother Earth. Abundant Mother Earth. Abundant waters, abundant land, abundant life. Let yourself expand out into the solar system, out into the galaxy, bigger, bigger. This is you. This entire universe is your consciousness. Look around. What do you see? Abundance everywhere. The stars are radiating abundance. The galaxies are spinning abundance. more and more abundance everywhere. You are not separate from this abundance. This abundance is you. You are part of this divine creation that exists abundantly. See, feel, allow. Imagine yourself standing in a flow of energy that's coming from the center of the universe. It may look like water sparkling with light. It may look like silk flowing in a breeze. It may have multiple colors. And this flow of energy is coming right toward you. It actually moves through you and around you. It has infinite source, and it flows past you infinitely. And in that energy, you can imagine anything you choose. Maybe there's some TV sets bobbing along, some automobiles, food, toys, automobiles, or just energy. Maybe you see money flowing past you. Whatever you see flowing past you is what you create. You are a divine creator, and you can transform this energy into anything you want. When you're in this flow, when you know that you are abundance, when you vibrate, resonate your frequency with this flow, absolutely everything is available to you. So feel the flow. Open your arms wide, embrace the flow. Open your heart wide, receive the flow. Breathe in the flow. Notice how it feels. And now we're going to come back slowly to the earth plane. But as you come back, you take that sensation, you take that feeling, you take that vibration, you take that consciousness of abundance back with you, because it's now vibrating throughout your body. It's in all of your cells. It's in all of the water. It's in all of the tissues. It's in every part of your being. As you slowly come back, bringing your energy back, coming back into our solar system, coming back to Mother Earth, coming back into the town, city, countryside where you live. Taking a deep breath in, breathing in the abundance, and saying to yourself, I am abundance. I am infinite consciousness. I create my reality of abundance. Abundance to share with everyone because it's infinite too. I am grateful to be abundance. Come on back into your body. Bring that vibration with you. Give it a home inside you. Take a deep breath. Can you feel it? Of course you can. You brought it home. When you're ready, you may open your eyes.
We have brought that vibration of abundance home. Don't let anyone or anything take it from us. To me, it feels full. That was the word that I got, full. There's a fullness. Beautiful. This is our vibration. And if there's thoughts that get in the way, this vibrational feeling will blaze it right away. Yes.
That's a wonderful image, Lauren. I love that. What we have to do now is remind ourselves, I am abundance. And that's not just an affirmation, it's a truth. It's a truth. Take that into your heart too. I am abundance.
It is our birthright.
Absolutely.
And we can look outside our window and see an abundance of flowers or fruit on the trees. And that goes back to what you were saying. We open our eyes to it. We could have an abundance of things happening, an abundance of experiences. And it doesn't just have to be money, but again, this sharing, this unity consciousness.
Exactly.
And before we go into taking some questions or shifting some belief systems with our audience, what would you say is the connection towards unity consciousness? Is there anything else you'd like to share about how we move into unity consciousness in these times?
Oh boy, a lot could come in response to that question. Oh, so first of all, I want to tell you about stone soup. Ever hear about stone soup? Well, things were tough economically, and everybody in this little village was hoarding what they had in their houses. They were even afraid to come out to the water well in the street to get water. They'd sneak out with their bucket, they'd take some water from the well and they'd go back. And one day, a traveler walks into town, a man kind of in raggedy clothes, and he's got a knapsack on his back and he's got a bucket. And he has a kind of like a little cauldron there. And he stops in the middle of the town square and he gathers up some pieces of wood and he lights a fire and he takes some water from the well and he puts it in the bucket. And of course, everybody's noticing this. Who is this person? What's he doing here? He's doing these strange things. And then he picks up a rock, a big stone, and he puts it into his kettle and he lights a fire. This is very odd. What's he doing? So finally, one brave soul comes out of his house, walks up to the man and goes, I've been watching you. What are you doing? And the guy says, oh, so nice to meet you. I'm so glad you came out. I'm making stone soup. And the other man goes, stone soup? Well, the man says, it would be a little better if there was a little bit of onion in it, but basically it's stone soup. The man goes, I might have an onion to spare. So the traveler says, that'd be great. A little onion, it'll make the stone soup better. So the man goes back to his house. He comes out with an onion, peel the onion, cut it up, put it in the cauldron. So he's sitting there watching the stone soup cook. Somebody else is now curious, comes out from their house. What are you doing? I'm making stone soup. What's that? Well, it's soup with stones in it. But might taste a little better if we had a carrot. And the guy says, I could maybe spare a carrot. So he goes home, gets the carrot, brings it out. I mean, this goes on throughout the village where various people start coming out and, we have a little bit of cabbage, we add a potato, I might have a little extra piece of pork. And pretty soon you have a feast for everybody. That's unity consciousness. We're all one. And that brings me to the other point I want to make about unity consciousness. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. That's what we've all been taught was the teaching of Jesus. I have always felt, and believe me, I'm not trying to say I'm better than Jesus, but I have always felt that the real meaning of that is do unto others as you would have others do unto you, because the other is you. There's only one being here. We are all God consciousness in these bodies. We think we are this body. We think we are this limited person. That's not who we are. We are the divine, pretending to be me, pretending to be you, Loren, pretending to be each one of us. And so when you can look into somebody's eyes and see God inside them, then you remember that we're all one. That's unity consciousness to me.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it is our time on the planet to really cultivate that and build it. And it happens within our hearts, one heart at a time. Thank you. And
Many hearts resonating together, Loren.
We are.
It happens one heart at a time, but we all have to have our hearts open so we resonate together. Are we going to do a little shifting of beliefs here?
Let's do some shifting of BS, belief systems.
Right.
If you're in our Zoom audience, please, you can raise your hand in the participants tab. Go ahead and raise your hand. And I see already a few comments in our chat line. First, we're going to Allie. Hi, Allie. You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Oh, how exciting. Thank you
Hi,
so
Allie.
much for that. Hi. Hello, Nedda. Thank you so much for that gorgeous meditation. When you took us kind of into the outer reaches and we were super expanded and then bringing back energy, then I was like bringing back like so much light and, you know, so much color, rainbows and violet flame and bathing the earth. It's like I kind of flushed it. It's like I brought it in the bottom and pulled it out the top and gave it like a complete vacuuming of energy. And so I said to myself, oh, if I got called to have this wonderful chance with you, then yeah, what I would love help with is that whilst I find it very easy to do that, like on a big scale, you know, very interested in everyone and my energy being for everyone, I have from my, you know, ancestral patterning, like a real sense of fear. I feel, you know, like to be allowing any of that abundance for myself. Yeah, it's like, you know, I can do like monk pour, no problem.
So,
but
Allie,
I feel like let that go.
when you feel that fear, what thought goes flying through your head?
I think it's a danger. Yeah, I think there's like a sense that, you know, I better keep very small and just do my work very quietly and not attract too much attention. Yeah, but I think also it's linked to my mum and not wanting to be more fabulous than her. I think that's quite a lot of it as well, and just not wanting to hurt her feelings and make her any more jealous than she already is.
Wow.
So I'm happy to do sacrifice to make her feel a bit better, I think, but I think I need to let her go now.
Okay, well, this is like several beliefs locked together here. And I don't know that we have time to untangle them all or clear them all. But I wrote down this one, I better keep small. I better keep small and not attract attention.
Yeah.
And this sounds really like a survival belief, because the next part of it is, because if I attract attention, something, fill in the blank, what's going to happen. So what we need to do here is look at what are the emotions keeping you small. And of course, fear is one, and you mentioned the other one, jealousy. There are probably more than that, but let's see if we can just clear those two. So
Wonderful, thank you.
okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm just going to say a quiet prayer here for a moment to connect with your energy and connect with your consciousness. Okay, so let's see what the limiting beliefs are we need to clear. We need to clear the first one. Is it fear? Yes. Okay, so Allie, I'm going to ask you to take your hand and just stroke the top of your head right up the middle and down the back, clearing fear. 1, 2, and 3. Take a deep breath. Whew, I can feel that flowing off you. Can you feel that? Some of that fear flowing off? That's beautiful.
I feel it trickling down the base of my spine.
Right, just going right off. Okay, perfect. Okay, what's the next one? Yeah, the jealousy.
Yeah, oh God,
That's
that's
the
a
next
I have a
one.
lot of that to deal with from so many people. That would be a good
Right,
one.
and this one, this is, there's 2 jealousies here. There's you jealous of your mother, and there's your mother's jealousy of you, because you got caught up in a triangle of it. Does that feel right?
No, I've always felt very sorry for my mum, really.
You
I've
felt
never
sorry
really,
for your mom.
yeah, never really felt a sense of jealousy
You never
towards her.
felt jealousy for her. Okay, well, but her jealousy that you mentioned jealousy. So you were talking about her jealousy of you.
Yeah.
She was jealous of you. Okay, so that's hers. So
Really
that's her
power
implanted
for her
jealousy.
in puberty, like then it really was like, wow, just really exploded for her.
Okay, okay, good that you clarified that. All right, so let's clear out the jealousy. Her emotion got implanted in you because
Yeah.
it was tied up with your fear. So let's clear that out. So ready? We're going to do this. 1, clearing jealousy. 2, clearing jealousy. 3, take a deep breath in. Whew, that went out the top of your head. Like just like that. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, is there another trapped emotion that's holding I better keep small? And there is one more. And there's actually something stronger than fear, and there's like a terror.
Yeah.
And it has to do with being rejected. All right. It's kind of tied up with abandonment. So we're going to do those 2, and I think that'll be enough to let us release this I better keep small. So we're going to clear the terror first. All right, ready? 1,
Yeah.
2, and 3. Take a deep breath in. Yeah. Cough again. Cough. Get it out of your throat. Right. Whew. Good job. Good job. Okay. That cleared. And then feeling abandoned. All right.
Yeah, that's a biggie. For being good, like it's a bummer.
Yes, absolutely. Boy, is that upside down and inside out. Abandoned for being good. Okay, let's clear that one. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. One more breath in. Oh, okay. I'm feeling a real calm from you now. So now what we're going to do is we have to transform I better keep small into which is a constricting, limiting feeling that associates with that message. And we want to turn it, we're going to stand it on its head. So if you're going to take that belief, I better keep small, and turn it upside down, what would you get?
Well, and you would get, I better be huge.
I better be huge. Oh, wow. Now, how does that feel when you think about that?
Like massive help. Like, you know, it's like I do all of my work, you know, behind the scenes, like unseen, as it were. But I feel like so much the guidance is like, you know, my team are pushing me and like, Ali, you should be out there and talking to people and being, you know, visible and yeah, and like helping them more directly. And
Okay.
so yeah.
Okay, how I want to rephrase this a little bit. You tell me if this rephrasing works for you or not.
Okay.
I'm safe when I am huge.
And yeah, it's great. I love that I'm safe. It's like, yeah, I'm safe when I'm yeah,
when I'm
big
huge.
and visible. How about instead of
When
huge,
I'm
huge is a little
visible,
bit terrifying.
yes.
Maybe it'll do a weight thing in my subconscious or something. But how about like, you know, I am safe when I am visible and, you know, big and visible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. That feels powerful, right?
Yeah.
For
Okay.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of I better keep small. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 3 strokes from the front to the back to get rid of I better be small. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath in. That sounded like glass shattering.
Especially my lower body somehow. Yeah, I was like, shh.
Yeah. Okay, now here's how we put the new one in. We're going to stroke in the opposite direction, and I want you to say the new positive statement out loud each time. And here's how I want you to say it. I want you to, right now, just close your eyes for a minute, connect with your power center in your stomach. All right, your solar plexus. This is where our power is. Connect your power center with your heart center, which has been nice and open for our session today. And connect with your throat center. So we're bringing power and love together. Because when we're afraid of our power, it's because we haven't got it connected up with our love and our compassion. Power, love, and compassion now to your throat. So now when you speak this, you're going to speak it with love and you're going to speak it with power. And we're going to do the strokes in the other direction. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Coming up your back. Start down like the base of your neck. Come all the way up to the top of your head and say, I am safe when I am big and visible.
I am safe when I am big and visible.
All right, do it again.
I am safe when I am big and visible.
Great. One more time.
I am safe when I am big and visible.
And how do you feel?
I feel amazing. I feel amazing and so blessed. Yes, how wonderful you are, and what wonderful guidance to be here as well, because it all just was very last minute. So bless you. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You'll
Thank you,
answer my
Hallie, for
prayer.
being brave enough to do this in front of everybody. That's
Oh, well, you're
great.
welcome. I think it's great because everybody gets to see how wonderful you are.
Well, how wonderful you are, because you are now big and visible, so we can all see you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah,
You're
thank you
very
for all my
welcome.
team as well. They're really super happy, and yeah, just it's exactly what I needed. Mwah, bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you, Ali. You are
Thank you.
sparkly and shiny and huge right now. Thank you.
Oh, so are you guys. Thank you.
And your voice is dynamic. So thank you. All right. Cool. Let's go. We're going to go to another one just because it's really good. And we are going to Colleen. Colleen, you can unmute yourself now and ask your question. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I did put a comment in the box when I was imagining a river of different colors, like a rainbow flowing to me, and picturing all the things that I wanted and putting them in that rainbow, and they were coming to me. I was feeling a sense of guilt,
Mhm.
um, and shame. So I had to picture white light and picture like a holiness coming to me to make it feel okay. And
Yeah.
that seemed to help.
Okay, so keep breathing there. All right. And these are powerful emotions, and they're right there in your chest and in your heart. So we can start by clearing those emotions, and then we can look at see what comes up from underneath them. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so you mentioned the guilt first. Let me just connect with you and see if that's what we need to clear first. Okay, the shame first. That's what I was told. So let's clear the shame. We don't need to analyze. That's what I love about this. We don't need to analyze. You don't need to go back and relive anything. We just clear the stuff out. We don't need it anymore. Gone. So we're going to clear the shame. Colleen, you just take your hand, start at your forehead, and go back 3 times. You ready?
Okay.
Getting rid of shame. 1 and 2 and 3. Take a deep breath in. Okay, that's coming out of your root chakra. I think we need a few more strokes. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. That's better. Do you feel how your energy is calming?
Yes. Yeah. It
Yeah.
feels better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Sometimes emotions get locked in like those little Russian dolls. You open one, there's another one inside. You open that one, there's another one inside. So
Yeah.
sometimes we clear multiple layers of the same emotion. Okay, that was great. So let's see now. We're ready to do the guilt. Yes, now the guilt's ready to go. Okay, you ready? We're going to get rid of the
Okay.
guilt.
Okay.
1, 2, and 3. Take a deep breath in and blow it out. Yeah, I felt like you really had to push that out from the bottom of your lungs. Did you feel that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, did we get all the guilt? We did. You got it all.
Oh,
Good job. Okay,
thank you.
is there another emotion that needs to be, okay, there's some fear underneath there. You might as well get rid of that too. Why not? Why hang on to that?
Okay.
All right, so let's do fear. You ready?
Ready.
1, 2, and 3. Deep breath in. Oh. Yeah, make a little sound. Ah, there you go.
Ah.
Good job. Okay. So now when you think about standing in that river of abundance, just visualize yourself doing that. What do you feel?
It feels safe. It feels like it's okay.
Absolutely. That's where you belong.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you so much.
welcome. Was there a thought attached to all this, like a belief?
I I've been trying to figure it out for years because I always, when I get money, I always just give it away or go spend it. And when you were talking to the other lady, it brought up when she was talking about some memories of her mom, it brought up a memory when I was sitting around the table when I was younger. And I remember saying like to my parents, oh, you know, if I ever won the lottery, I would just go downtown and I would give it to all the homeless people. And my mom got really mad at me and said, you can't do that because those people are just going to go and buy more liquor with it or something to that effect. And I felt so like I don't know, I just felt like I'd done something wrong. Like I was so ashamed, like I wasn't being, you know, wise or smart or, you know.
You were being loving.
I was surprised at my mom because I didn't expect that from her.
Yeah, you were in your heart and your mom was in her head. Your heart was open and you were being loving and you wanted to share. You were being fifth dimensional. And your mom was stuck in 3D.
Unity conscious.
Right, right, Colleen, you were in unity consciousness. Your mom was in poverty consciousness. And part of poverty consciousness, you know, the story you've just told, Colleen, it brings up another thing, which is that we all make judgments about what other people should be doing with money.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you know, if you give a gift, it has to be done freely. You can't say to someone, I'm going to give this to you, but you have to do this and this and this with it. I mean, people in poverty consciousness do that. They write wills and they give money to whomever, and it has all these strings attached. It can only be used in this way or that way, but you can't do this other thing. You were in pure unity consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Can you allow yourself to be okay with that?
Yes.
Be joyous about it. And you, as a little girl, you knew the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself permission to be in your heart and to live from your heart. Okay? You give
Okay.
yourself permission, then that's what you're going to do. That's
Okay.
beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
just glowing. You're just glowing. When you connect with that little girl inside you, she knew.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, this reminds me of a wonderful, really short story, but it's important. There was a family and they had a little girl who was about 6 or 7 years old, and they got pregnant and they had a new baby, and they were very afraid that their daughter was going to be jealous of the new baby. And so the baby comes home from the hospital and is in this beautiful crib and in a special room. And the parents see the little girl go in there. And they're wondering what she's going to do. So they kind of sneak up to the doorway to peek in because they don't want to disturb her, but they really are concerned because they've heard that older children are often jealous of the new sibling. And what they see and hear completely surprises them. Their daughter goes over to the crib where the new baby is, and she speaks softly to the baby and says, "Do you remember God? I'm forgetting what God is.
Oh,
Do you remember the love? I'm forgetting the love that I felt. Please help me remember." You remembered. It's so beautiful. It just gives me chills. There's the God in you, Khalid. It's so lovely. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Colleen. You've really helped so many of us, sister. You may not be aware of it, but wow. You know, there's so many times that our parents can do this and they're not even aware, just passing down these belief systems that do a heck of a lot of damage, like in an instant. So thank you, Nedda, for releasing that. Wow, that was beautiful to watch. I want to cry, and I know Colleen's crying too.
Yeah, it's so important that we remember who we are and that we honor the fact that when we were children, we knew
Yes, we
We
knew.
didn't know. We came in with the knowledge. And then
Yes.
that veil comes down and all the programming comes in. And, it's like we get squeezed into this mold that doesn't really fit us at all because we're meant to be as vast as the galaxy, right, everybody? You were out there. You were the whole galaxy. That's who we really are, the divine self.
Perfect. Beautiful. Okay, we have time for one more.
Good.
So sorry we can't get to everyone. But again, we're going to talk about Nedda's special offer. She does one-on-one sessions. And if you have seen what she's done for others and how quickly she can identify that and dispel it, if that makes sense for you, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But check out the special offer and a session with Nedda. All right, let's go to Mary. Mary, you've got a question, dear sister, which you're not alone either. I think a lot of people fear this. So unmute yourself, Mary, and say hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. I'm having a really intense fear of death. It's very real. I'm 75 and I do have some health issues. They're not terminal, but they're health issues. And it's something that's haunting me a lot in every waking moment. I can't sleep well. And it feels really real to me to be, facing death. I'm wondering if you can help me.
Well, I can help. I don't know how much we can do in the little bit of time we have right now, but let me ask you something, if I may. What was your spiritual or religious upbringing?
Catholic.
Okay, that would have been my guess, but I didn't want to do that.
I don't have a lot of, fear of going to hell, any of that stuff. That's not my issue. My issue is the process of dying and being dead.
Okay, so what is the belief you have around, I don't think we can do both, either the process of dying or being dead. I mean, what do you believe it means to be dead? Or yeah, what does it mean to be dead?
I don't know what to say.
What do you imagine?
I can answer better the first question of what it's
Oh.
of dying.
The process? Let's talk about that then. Okay, go
Alright.
for it.
Yeah. Losing physical vitality, losing pain, suffering. Yeah, like a painful process. And I don't have that fear of going to hell or anything like that. That's not.
Okay. All right, so we're going to focus on the process of dying and losing physical vitality and being in pain and suffering. Okay, do you believe that you have a choice about the process of dying, that you can choose what the process is going to be for you? Or do you believe that this is outside your control?
I don't believe I have a choice. I look at other people's experience, and a lot of people would not choose the way they die. So it doesn't make sense to me that I would be in control of it.
Okay, well, it turns out that what we believe is what we manifest. Do you believe that?
To some degree.
Okay, so what if we could shift you into a stronger place of deciding for yourself what your process of dying is going to be like? In other words, we're not going to decide what the process is right now. What we're going to focus on is you shifting into a place of, I can choose what my process will be.
I guess
Go ahead.
I don't believe that because when I look at other people's process of death and they when they're suffering and have a terminal illness, I don't think they would choose that. Being in
No, but yeah, they may not consciously have chosen it, but they may have belief systems that they weren't aware of, that are unconscious or subconscious, that brought them into that experience. And what I'm suggesting is that you can change your beliefs about what that experience is going to be and create a different experience for yourself.
Okay, I'm open to exploring that.
You're open to exploring that. Okay. So what do you imagine right now the process would be? Would you be alone? Would you be in hospice? Would it be an accident? Boom, suddenly gone? What do you imagine for yourself right now?
I don't imagine something sudden. I imagine something where I'm losing my physical abilities, you know.
Okay.
I have an irregular heartbeat and some issues with passing out, and have injured myself that way.
Okay. So it's not, okay. What would you prefer? You would like it to be painless, right?
Yeah.
Would you like it to be quick as opposed to lingering?
No, I don't want a shock.
All right, so if you were going to transform lingering, stand it on its head, what would that look like?
A peaceful, slow,
Peaceful,
a peaceful death.
a slow death?
Yeah, you know, like when people die when they're asleep or whatever. I mean, just something.
Oh, great. Okay. You're going to die while asleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe that you have spirit guides who will help you through that process?
Well,
Will
I've
Jesus
had
come and
some,
help you? Or Mary? Or I mean, do you feel a connection with some higher beings that you'd be willing to call on to assist you?
I've tried to make that connection. I don't feel anything real about it. I have. I've really prayed a lot about feeling that connection where I'm not alone, and I'm
Okay.
not physically, I'm not aware of it tangibly, like I can't feel it.
Okay.
I think the fear gets in the way.
All right. So we're gonna start off by clearing the fear, and I'm gonna muscle test to see if we can clear resistance, some kind of resistance within you to having the connection with higher beings. Because the truth is, we all have spirit guides. We all have higher beings who are available to us. But if you're not able to make the connection, then there may be some part of you that's resisting. So I'm going to test for that. Okay?
Sure, and I'm doing my best to be as open as possible.
I know you are.
Yeah.
And yet some part of you is resisting. So what we need to do is help that part let go of that resistance. And it's amazing when you clear resistance, it's like suddenly the door opens or the window opens, whatever metaphor works for you. All right, so we're going to look at fear, we're going to look at resistance, and then we'll see what else is going to come up. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, let's start with that and see what happens. So just give me a minute here to say a prayer. Okay, so the first thing we need to clear is the first thing fear? No. Is it resistance is where we're going to start.
Okay.
Because when we clear the resistance, then things hidden away under the resistance can come up and then we can get to them. Okay, so we're going to clear resistance in general. In general? Yes, in general. All right, so ready? Just take one hand, start at your forehead, clearing resistance. 1, 2, and 3. Take a deep breath in.
Oh.
Wow, that went right out through your throat. You even made a sound. You know, when we're clearing something and a sound comes out of our throat, that sound is a specific frequency that helps to move that energy. That was really good that you let that come out, Mary.
Thank you.
Oh, good. All right. All right. Is there another layer? There's a little more resistance though. There's another layer. So we're going to go for that next. Okay, ready?
Ready?
Here we go. 1, clearing resistance.
2.
2 and 3. Deep breath in. Yeah, that was a nice sigh. Good. All right. Is there another layer of resistance? No. So the next thing that comes up is fear. Fear is next. Okay. Ready to do the fear?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Deep breath in. How you doing?
Okay.
Okay. So now I'm going to suggest, now we're going to do a specific fear. That was a generalized fear. We're going to do fear of the dying process. That specific fear. Ready?
Can we do fear of death and that? Both?
But one thing at a time.
All right.
I mean, I want this to be really specific. I think that's what you need right now. Fear of the dying process. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Deep breath in. Yeah, good. All right. All right. I'm being told you're not ready to do fear of death yet. So what we need to do, we're focusing on the dying process specifically. So now, can we put in some kind of statement? Mary, I want you to help me write this. I am in charge. This is just hypothetical. You can change all the words. I am in charge of my deathing, deathing, of my deathing experience. And that word deathing comes from a wonderful book by a woman named Anya Foos-Graber, and it's called Deathing. And she talks about the importance of the dying process, or deathing as she calls it. She calls it deathing because it's like the other side of birthing. And she talks about how when we are deathing, we are being reborn into our spirit selves. So we're not dying in the sense of something morbid. We're actually going home. We're going back into our pure state. And that's, by the way, a wonderful book that you might find really helpful to read. It's still in print. It's a great book. So what do you think about this statement? I am in charge of my deathing experience.
I'm open to it. I mean, I don't know. It's the word deathing sounds a little strange, but other than that.
Okay, well, that's it's not good if it feels strange. It has to feel strong, and it has to really resonate with you. So how would you change this? I am in charge of my dying experience.
Experience of dying.
My experience of dying. I am in charge of my experience of dying. Okay, let's try that. That feel good?
Yeah.
Feel powerful?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to stroke the other way from the up your neck all the way up to your eyebrows 3 times. Each time you do it, I want you to say this sentence. I am in charge of my experience of dying. Ready?
I am in charge of my experience of dying.
Good. Do it again.
I am in charge of my experience of dying.
All right, I want it more powerful. Connect your power center to your heart center. Okay, ready? Go.
In charge of my experience of dying.
Okay, one more time.
I am in charge of my experience of dying.
Yeah, good. How does that feel now?
Pretty good.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
take some breaths. Feel it resonate within you. Okay.
Yeah.
I think, Lauren, we don't have time to do more, do we?
I'm
Let's check with you. You're in charge of the clock there.
Yeah, I know. Mary, you sound better.
Can we do the fear of death one, or do we have time?
Okay, just the fear of death. Okay, we won't try to do any belief systems. We'll just do the fear.
Is that
Okay.
all right, Lauren?
Yes, it is, of course.
Okay, let's do the fear of death. Starting again up at your eyebrows. Fear of death. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah. Mary, I think there's more to this for you to work with over time. Okay. I would get the book Deathing and read as much of it as resonates with you. And if you wanted to do private sessions with me, we could. I'd be very glad to help you with this. Just so you know, Mary, I'm 70. God, I'll be 77 this year. I'm thinking about 007, 777. Like, it's really cool.
And do you have fear of death?
No, because I believe that when I die, I'm going home.
Okay.
That this is just a temporary existence. I'm here in service. And when I complete my service, I get to go home.
Okay.
But you know, it's unusual for someone to have that belief. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. I love working with you and also with Colleen and Allie. I really appreciate everyone being brave and generous with themselves. Thank you.
Thank you for your assistance. I appreciate it. Thank you, Lauren.
Very
for coming.
welcome.
Mary, you sound so much better, sister.
Do I?
Yes, you do. It's energy.
Yeah.
And so may this be an inspiration for you. You know, welcome the journey. May it be an inspiration. I know one time I read the book, the white book, Ramtha, and I realized I just want to go and blow away in the wind. And that was the first time that we realized, wow, we really can have a say on this. And if not, we know the practices. Go out the crown of your head, right? And go on home.
Yes, it's really interesting. One of, because I work with animals, the animals have taught me so much about death and dying and the afterlife. When my horse Echo was euthanized, she took her time leaving, much to the frustration of my veterinarian friend who wanted it to be quick and over. And one of the blessings of that was that Echo was showing us how she was leaving the body, what the process was, and how she first left her legs. We could feel, this other gal and I were there, are both energy healers. We could feel her leave her legs first, and then we were checking her chakras along her spine, and the root chakra was closed, and the sacral chakra was closed as we went up, and she actually went out her crown chakra. And then my veterinary friend was sitting on the ground holding Echo's head in her lap, and she leaned over to kiss her goodbye, and she picked up her head and looked at the three of us who were there. Did you put perfume on this horse? No. So we all leaned over and smelled her essence.
Mm-hmm.
Was this incredible scent. And the interesting thing to me was that it was a familiar smell,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't smell like her physical body at all. It was just this indescribable, beautiful aroma. And that was her essence.
Have you ever smelt it again?
No, but I might get to, because she came back as my Siamese cat.
No,
So she's here with me now. It's a Siamese cat. From an Arabian horse to a cat. It's amazing.
beautiful. I mean, a wonderful topic. And if we study Tibetan Buddhism and some of the experiences there with the rainbows that appear, Mary, we share this because of the wealth of information. You are opening up to this awareness of yourself, of the power that you have as this great being. And that's empowering. So welcome the journey in all aspects. Yes.
Yeah, and there are also so many books now about people who've had near-death experiences and
Mhm.
the beautiful experiences and the love that greets them. This
Yeah.
incredible, true, unconditional, infinite love. So
Yeah.
you might find some of that helpful also to read books about near-death experiences.
Thank you.
Okay.
I haven't
Really
had this fear before.
a good one. What is it? Journey of Souls by Michael Newman.
That's a good one.
Yes, Journey of Souls by Michael Newman, Mary. I hope you find great comfort in that. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary. Well, this has just been wonderful, Nedda. I wanted to say, if those who are listening and watching want to learn more about Nedda and Echo, we in our archives have a quantum conversation with Nedda, and you can go search for it at acoustichealth.com and learn more of Nedda's background with her animal communication and all of it. That was a totally different subject and topic, but it is worthy of listening to again and again. It's a great time now, Nedda, to talk about the offer, ways that people can work with you. You're a wonderful teacher. You're a wonderful guide here to empower and assist. And so share with us that offer.
Okay, excuse me. Well, the first offer is the recorded course on becoming abundance. And while the guided meditation today was designed to really give you that experience of what it feels like to be in the abundance frequency and to merge with it, the course was 5 sessions full of techniques and meditations and affirmations. And the third class was a group session doing similar to what we just did, where everybody in the class had an opportunity to work on clearing some limiting beliefs related to poverty consciousness. So when you purchase that package, you will be getting a half an hour with me as your third session. So that's kind of built into it. So even though you get a group of recordings and you get also all the handout materials that were used in the class. I don't remember any of the prices, so I can't tell you what those are. You have to go look at the page that has all of the bonuses. So that's the first one, and I hope people really decide to work with that, because it will shift you. Absolutely will shift you. And then the second offering is a series that I taught some years ago on, gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It's a group of meditations on healing through the heart. And they're very, very powerful. I mean, I'm saying this and I feel silly.
The way home. Yes.
Your heart knows the way home. Thank you. I feel silly saying that they're powerful. I'm just repeating what other people have told me. When I do guided meditations, I never feel the power of them. This is so ironic, Loren. And then other people tell me, oh, it was so amazing. And I'm going, oh, wow, I'm so glad to hear that because I don't feel it the way other people do. But your heart knows the way home. There's a meditation for every chakra in your body, an entire meditation for clearing and healing each chakra. And then there's an ascension meditation that's very, very powerful that will really take you into higher vibration. And then there are a couple of meditations for specific organs in the body. I know there's one on the lungs, and there's one on the liver, and I think there's a third one. So that's a whole set that you can purchase and use over and over again as you feel the call to do so. And they're MP3s, so you can put them on different devices and just take them with you wherever you want to go. And then the last offer are private sessions, either animal communication session. When I do those, it's you and me and the animals all talking together. live simultaneous translation, like if you're at the UN and somebody is speaking Swahili or Russian or some other language you don't know, and you're hearing it immediately. So I'm describing immediately in the now moment what I'm getting from your animal. I'm talking to you and the animal at the same time. You get to ask questions. We all talk together. It's that unity. It's the bringing together so everybody can understand each other's point of view, and then coming up with a plan of action that everyone has to agree to. The animal has to feel comfortable with it. You need to feel comfortable with it. My job is to just facilitate it. So that's an animal communication session. And then the spiritual empowerment coaching sessions, they go beyond just transforming limiting beliefs. If you have some things in your life that you've been struggling with and you need someone to just help you see the higher perspective, or ask some pertinent question. Lots of times I come up with questions. I used to say I don't know where they're coming from. They would just sort of come out of my mouth. Of course I know where they're coming from. They're coming from higher guidance. That's where they're coming from. And I'm particularly talented at being able to focus in on what I call nexus points. Nexus points are where energies come together that are the critical point in untangling confusions or obstacles. And so when people talk to me about what's going on in their lives, and they say, well, I have these 3 things and I don't know what to work on, what I'll do is, as they talk about any one of them, I'll be looking for how they're all connected. Because when you get to the point of connection and you can untangle that, it can make everything clearer. And boy, clarity is a really important thing to have these days. And then we work to come up with a plan of action. Okay, so what do you need to do to get resolution? Or what is it? Sometimes the most important question, Lorraine, is what is your next step?
Mm-hmm.
You got to take it one step at a time, each and every now moment. So I hope you'll all take a look at those and sign up for whatever calls to your heart. And I'll be delighted to work with you.
Oh, we are so happy to have you here. You are a delight, Nedda. Great comments coming in. I hope you have a chance to read those in our chat on Zoom. Just beautiful sharing, beautiful support for everyone in the Zoom chat line, recommendations for Mary, support for everyone who shared today. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Go to acoustichealth.com and register for our Zoom audience if you'd like to join us in our Zoom audience. Again, Nedda's special offer is right here on this webpage. I am going to put the link also in our Zoom box. It's actually up in the beginning, but it is here again. She is very generous with this offer, so take her up on it. We are excited for it. Thank you, everyone. Many, many blessings. Nedda, as we say goodbye, I just want to have you share any final comments today.
I want to thank each and every person who is here today or who will listen to this in the future. My heart is open to you. I welcome you with all my heart. I'm grateful. I'm honored. May you all be blessed. May you all find what gives you the greatest joy. Namaste. The God in me sees the God in you. Thank you.
Beautiful. And with that, we are high on life, high on love, and we are complete. Thank you, Nedda. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Enjoy and be love, be peace. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.